And
Right.
so, what are the strategies that you think businesses should be implementing right now to get some exposure, get to their audience? Like, what do you see in the digital marketing space right now?
I think, really the starting point in any campaign and any marketing that you're going to be doing has to be based on who your audience is and where they live. And building out your positioning, building out that persona of your consumer, thinking about what their journey is going to be is really unique to the business. So I think there isn't necessarily one strategy that's going to work for all businesses, but just speaking to what we know for those verticals or industries that we know, Q4 is a really important time of year for retail,
Okay.
right? For gyms, for spas, for even attorneys, divorce lawyers, for financial advisors like yourself. There's a huge uptick, and I guess the question is, if you're in those verticals, there is some advice that we would give because you have a short time frame to really drive in leads, and certainly for a retailer. And branding at this point isn't gonna, branding is about creating awareness, creating that level of trust. You have brand elements, and we can talk about that, but really it's gonna be more of a direct response play, meaning trying to get people to take action now. Right? You only have a few weeks. This Saturday is Small Business Saturday, which is a huge opportunity, right, to promote yourself. Find that hashtag if you're on social media, get involved with other businesses, and try to do some of that lateral networking with other people that are in the ecosystem. But if you're trying to drive in direct response, social media is a great way to do that. Social ads, and I know a lot of people aren't aware there are multiple other different types of Facebook and Instagram ads. There's something called lead generation. Lead generation is about getting people's contact information, and then you can follow up. You nurture the lead. But then there also is something called a Facebook offer, which is basically like pushing out a coupon. That's a really good tool for a lot of businesses, assuming that your audience is living there, the demographic is there, to get people in the door.
So I like that. I like that a lot. The Facebook offer, kind of landing on that, because it is a timely outreach. Of course, every business is different. They have different demographics, but it's a timely outreach because it's the holiday, because it's Thanksgiving. It's like Black Friday. You got Christmas. You got the holidays. And so, talk to me about that. Those Facebook offers. Like, how do you recommend somebody to put up their own stuff, or do you recommend for them to have it done professionally? Like, what are some of the good things and bad things that you've seen in terms of Facebook offers?
That's a really good question. I wish I had my director of customer success in here with me, because he had like a million war stories.
Right.
Technically, anybody can do a Facebook campaign, and a lot of this information is now available through Facebook. But there are also a lot of, you got to think about kind of the opportunity cost of doing it yourself, meaning, for those people who aren't familiar with that concept, if you're spending your time doing Facebook offers as a business owner, and that's time you're not spending doing the things that actually, your bread and butter that make you money, right? If you're a finance guy or you're a retailer. But some people are one-man shows, right? They're solopreneurs. They don't really have much of a choice. Maybe they have a limited budget. So you certainly could beta test and try out different strategies to see what works. But of course, you're going to get a better result. You're going to end up spending less money to generate those leads in that business if you're working with someone who's a professional. If you're not consistently managing that campaign, trying out different ads, using a pixel, there are a lot of different things that you can do to optimize it, but it requires that someone is actively managing it and knows what they're doing. So if you do it by yourself, there'll certainly be a learning curve. If you have the money, I would recommend you work with a professional.
Right.
One thing you could do, and I think it's very overrated, it's not necessarily sexy, but so much of your business as a business owner and as a local business owner is really coming from your existing customer base.
Right.
People that know you. And it's a lot easier for you to get people back in that know you, right? That cost of acquisition or that sale is a lot lower when you're going after and engaging with people that already know you. And how do you get in front of those people? Well, social is one way, right? You can create an event, boost it out, that you don't really need a professional to do that for you through social media, but also email. Email, whether you're using MailChimp is free or Constant Contact. I used to work at Constant Contact. They're a great platform. They'll even help you to set up your campaigns. Engaging with people at that level, because people open up email and they engage with it a lot.
A lot more.
Even though a lot more. I mean, if you think about like banner advertising, you know, what are the percentage that click through? It's a fraction of a percent, maybe it's a tenth or a fifth of a percent will click through or engage. Of course, it's a much larger numbers game.
Mhm.
But if you're a local business owner and you put together, you're on a limited budget, you could do a MailChimp campaign, assuming you don't have a ton of contacts, for free. And if you do a pretty good job at it, you know, your subject line is good, you have good content in it, and your list is important, right? You need a good list. You could see a 25–30% open rate,
Yeah, that's
right? That's really high.
That's
right?
really high. And you brought a concept to me, and I'm sharing this right now. You brought a concept to me which is called a lookalike campaign, where people that actually have an email list. So could you talk a little bit more about the concept of a lookalike
Sure.
campaign, taking people from your email list and being able to generate maybe like an offer like you mentioned? Could you talk a little bit more about that concept for people who've never
Sure.
even heard such a thing?
So a lookalike campaign is just a way to build an audience on Facebook. It's pretty simple. So if you have that email list, essentially what Facebook is allowing you to do is to take that email list,
Mm-hmm.
load it into Facebook, and based on the profiles of those people, assuming they're on Facebook,
Right.
they may not, a lot of them won't, I mean, there are like, what, 2 billion people on Facebook, and that number just keeps growing, so most people are nowadays on Facebook, if they're on social media at all. So you can load in that list, that email list, it'll find people that are similar to them, and it does the work of, we talked about a second ago, developing a persona. Facebook's, artificial intelligence uses machine learning, will actually find people. If you combine that also with a pixel, it's a piece of code that you can throw onto your website, it'll further optimize, that new audience that you can then target.
Could you just pause and go a little bit more into the pixel concept? Because I've heard of it, I see it on my, ad manager, but I have no idea. Just go a little bit deeper into what's a pixel?
So a pixel is basically just a piece of code Facebook isn't the only platform that utilizes pixels. We utilize pixels to do what we call attribution, to do retargeting. So it's just a piece of code that you're putting on your website that allows you to track the performance of a campaign or optimize a campaign. So as people are coming off of that Facebook ad or as people are going to your site, it's collecting data on them,
I see.
right? In this example, and then it's helping Facebook to find people that are like the people that are coming to your website. But we could use pixels to retarget. So retargeting means you're sending someone to a website, you have a pixel there, and then we've all been followed by ads. That's because someone hit us with a pixel. You could retarget people on Facebook through Facebook ads. It's another thing that we do. So we'll sometimes send out email blasts. You can target people, put an email in their inbox, let's say end of year retail. And then once they open up that email, we can identify that they opened it and then target them out utilizing a pixel to then hit them with ads once they're on Facebook. It's like, wait a minute, I saw that in my inbox. And
They're
now it's
following me
around, stalking a little bit.
Right?
But it's all about building that frequency because we know people need to see things multiple times before they take action. And that's a really effective way to do it. So Facebook Pixel allows you to optimize your campaigns or to retarget people. But you can utilize pixels, just a piece of code on a website, to really optimize campaigns, retarget, and it's just a kind of a secondary component that helps you to really magnify the impact of a digital marketing campaign.